The Great Depression impacted the lives of many people. More than 25% of the United States population was unemployed. Americans were afraid of losing their jobs, which created a tense and hostile environment towards Mexicans and Mexican Americans. Competition for jobs and racist attitudes led to the mass deportation of more than 400,000 people of Mexican origin. Mexicans were viewed as backwards, violent, and undesirable. Because of these negative stereotypes and the fear of unemployment, many Americans supported deportation, or as it was called, repatriation. Repatriation, which literally means to move someone back to his or her country of origin, was used instead of deportation to sound more humanistic. Repatriation implies generously reintroducing people to their real country, whereas deportation suggests forcibly uprooting someone. Much of American society believed that illegal aliens were largely responsible for taking advantage of welfare programs as well as a burden on citizens' taxpayers' money. State representatives like Secretary of Labor William Doak and numerous other federal agents supported deportations because they saw Mexicans as criminals who came to the United States illegally. This demonstrates that American society did not see Mexican Americans as full citizens. These racist attitudes ingrained in a majority of Americans made it difficult for Mexican Americans and those who were in the country illegally to live their everyday lives because fear of deportation constantly surrounded them. Similar to Mexican Americans, whose home was the United States, Mexican immigrants acculturated to the U.S. lifestyle and also called the United States their home. Furthermore, there are many similarities in the treatment of Mexicans and Mexican Americans in Mexico and the United States, all dealing with the idea of who is a real Mexican or who is a real American. Conditions for Mexican Americans in both countries were very poor, and in both countries they were seen as inferior because they were not true members of the country. Many of the families affected by the deportations consisted of immigrant parents and their American-born children. Uprooting these people, especially the younger generations, resulted in fewer educational opportunities. Those who were deported were forced to speak Spanish, although many of them preferred English. For many children, it became difficult to go to school when they could hardly read or write Spanish. Amelia Castaneda de Valenciana, who was an American citizen affected by the deportation, shared,
"Yes, we were a novelty, because I guess we spoke English. We used to go to the store and we used to refer to the money as pennies, not centavos. So the people used to laugh at us. But I felt I didn't need to hide the fact that I was an American citizen."
Many families who had lived in U.S. cities now lived in the countryside. In a matter of days, everything changed and nothing was like how it was at home. Teresa Martinez Southern, who lived with her aunt in a one-bedroom apartment after being deported, shares that,
"Everything was so different. I wasn't used to this life. It was so tough on me. I would always say, oh, what if I could go back to my country again? I always had intentions of going back home."
Her words reflect the hardship that deportees endured in having to readjust to a different lifestyle. Mexican-American citizens who had proper documentation could return to the U.S., but then they would be separated from their families. However, for some, this was not an option as many Mexican-American citizens did not have birth records demonstrating citizenship. Amelia Castaneda de Valenciana, who was a deported American citizen, shares,
"So when I was close to the border, the Mexican immigration boards the train and they asked if you have a tourist card. What tourist card was I going to have? So I had to pay the money for a tourist card because, according to them, I was a tourist."
Even though the deportations were fueled by the racial perceptions of Mexicans and American fear of employment, those who supported repatriation failed to take into account the impact that the deportations would have on the families that were relocated. Much of the rhetoric that was used to justify the mass deportations of the 1930s is still being used today to oppose the legalization of approximately 12 million undocumented immigrants, even though these individuals have also built lives in the United States. There are approximately 500,000 undocumented youth that have gained the right to work in the United States through deferred action for childhood arrivals. However, there are millions more that are yet to have documentation and still live in fear of deportation.